Now, on to tonight's other top story. An appeal by one of the so-called West Memphis Three goes to the state Supreme Court. In 1993, Echols and two other teens were found guilty of killing three West Memphis second graders. They were found naked and beaten in a drainage ditch. But Echols maintains his innocence, and his lawyer today argued before the Arkansas State Supreme Court that because no DNA was found at the scene that matches the men convicted, a new trial should be granted. The state, though, is fighting back. THV's Ashley Blackstone was there and joins us live with more. Ashley?
Well, Craig, it was a packed courtroom this morning here at the Arkansas State Supreme Court. The majority of them there, West Memphis Three supporters, including one of the victim's stepfathers, who now believes the three men convicted are innocent.
I think about my son every day. There's not a day go by that I don't get up and fight for him. Justice for them would be freedom for the three men that did not kill him, and prison for the person that did kill him.
The defense and the state were each given 20 minutes to argue their sides. Echols' lawyer Dennis Reardon says new scientific evidence merits reopening his client's case. He says no DNA evidence links the three men to the scene, but rather to one of the victim's stepfathers. Also in Echols' appeal, an argument that during deliberations, jurors considered information that was not introduced as evidence at trial. Now, Reardon then asked the court to send the case back to circuit court for an evidentiary hearing so that the trial judge can sort out the new evidence. Echols' wife had this to say after the hearing.
I mean, I think that it's probably the best thing. I would love to see all of this new evidence come before a judge that's actually interested in justice and wants, I mean, we can't lose. We're so airtight in everything we have.
Now, meantime, the state argues that the defense must prove with their evidence that they have to prove innocence and not just raise questions with all of this. And meantime, earlier today, Attorney General Dustin McDaniel released a statement to the media, and this is what it says. The trial court judge ruled that the standard to invalidate the jury's verdict and retry this case has not been met. Our lawyers defended that ruling today in reliance upon solid precedents. Our justice system affords safeguards to protect the rights of all, and that includes not only defendants, but also in this case, the three innocent little boys who were viciously murdered in 1993. Now, you may recall one of the other three men convicted, Jesse Miskelly, confessed to the murders. However, lawyers say he has a low IQ and that the confession was coerced by police. Plus, Reardon today told the court he has, quote, devastating forensic evidence that proves Miskelly's confession is false. Now, coming up tonight at 6, we will hear from the man behind this appeal from death row, Damien Echols himself. Craig, back to you.
Ashley Blackstone, thank you. And if the High Court grants a new trial for Echols, it would likely spark new proceedings for Jason Baldwin and Jesse Miskelly, who are both serving life sentences. A decision could come as early as 2 weeks.
3 boys murdered, 3 teens convicted. Tonight, the fight for a new trial 17 years later.
The West Memphis second graders were found naked and beaten in a drainage ditch. Damien Echols, sentenced to die for the crime, says he's innocent. His lawyer today calling it of paramount importance he be granted a new trial.
This morning, he made his arguments before the Arkansas State Supreme Court.
And THV's Ashley Blackstone was there and joins us live with more. Ashley?
Well, good evening to you both. The appeal centers around a request and saying that Echols denies that this DNA evidence, saying that he had nothing to do with this crime, that proves this. However, the state is arguing that that the state argues evidence has to prove innocence and not just raise questions. More than 2 hours before Damien Echols' appeal hearing, a line started forming outside the Supreme Court building. Crowd of about 200, most of them West Memphis Three supporters. This man all the way from Australia.
And I'm here to not only raise awareness but see justice finally served for Damien, Jason and Jesse.
TV cameras weren't allowed in. However, for the first time in state history, Arkansans got a chance to watch oral arguments live over the internet.
The state has really proposed an Orwellian interpretation of the term all.
Each side got 20 minutes to state their case. Echols' lawyer Dennis Reardon says new scientific evidence merits a new trial.
He says no DNA evidence links the three men to the scene, but rather to one of the victim's stepfathers.
Until the statement of Jesse and Miss Kelly.
Also in Echols' appeal, an argument that during deliberations, jurors heard case facts that were not allowed in as evidence. Reardon asked for the case to go back to circuit court for an evidentiary hearing so that a trial judge can sort out the new evidence.
Obviously, we'd like to get to a new trial as quickly as possible, but there are sound legal reasons why the court may feel that the appropriate remedies in the evidentiary hearing.
Now, what does it take to prove innocence?
Meantime, the state believes Echols' lawyers haven't proved his innocence. A statement today from Attorney General Dustin McDaniel says, "Our priority in this case is the same as it is in every case, to pursue justice and fairness with integrity and professionalism. Our justice system affords safeguards to protect the rights of all. That includes not only defendants, but also in this case, the three innocent little boys who were viciously murdered in 1993. A decision from the court could come as soon as 2 weeks. Until then, Echols' wife will keep working.
So I think you continue to look for evidence. I think you continue to work toward justice. And I think that, we want to find out who actually committed these murders. And I'm hoping that everyone involved continues to work toward that end.
It means a lot to us.
And regardless of the High Court's decision from death row, Echols says he'll remain optimistic.
I believe with all my heart and all my soul that the day is coming whenever we will see justice and we'll walk out of this place. It may not come tomorrow. It may not come on September 30th, but it will come.
Now, you may recall one of the three men did confess to the crime, but Echols' lawyer says that he does have forensic proof proving that that confession was false. Back to you.
All right, Ashley Blackstone, thank you.
Now, spectators fought for a seat at the Supreme Court this morning, and the UALR Law School had a packed house there as well.
Students and faculty watched over the internet.
And THV's BJ Steed has that part of the story.
The state has taken a position that's directed not only about denying relief to Mr. Echols.
A first-time opportunity for the students at William H. Bowen School of Law in Little Rock. Students and faculty watching on as one of the most high-profile cases in recent years went before the state Supreme Court. Following Echols' appeal, discussion among those attending.
Because I know he's done now. He's reached his second Supreme Court appeal.
Lauren Miller firing off numerous questions, reveling in the chance to see the big-time players at work.
These are some of the best attorneys you can, find, and it's interesting to see that high caliber.
Others, like third-year law student Daniel Haney, seeing a hopeful future before his eyes.
Well, I wanted to see the reaction from the justices on the Supreme Court.
Dean Felicia Epps serving as a moderator.
And maybe one way to put all this to rest is to have a new trial.
Tossing ideas back and forth, placing the students in different scenarios, admitting this wouldn't have been possible without the court's new camera system.
It gives the public a better sense of transparency. We know what's going on. If we're interested in following this, we can do that.
Thus allowing many students to form their own opinions.
The best thing, as you just stated, for justice is to give these people an opportunity, if they so deserve, to prove that they are innocent, if indeed they are.
Dean Epps admits not every courtroom should have cameras, but says this beats fighting the crowd inside and outside the Supreme Court. In Little Rock, BJ Steed, today's THV.
Today's hearing has been archived on the Supreme Court's website.
And if you'd like to view it, you can log on to today'sTHV.com and click on the link inside the story.